Let's talk about some movies! Where the shit have I been? Do any of you guys care? No? Movie sequels. Movie sequels are fun. No, I'm not going to start that video like this. I'm starting a new series on this channel in which I make a list of things that I think and I say them to you guys. That was a very dumbed down and bad way to explain what's kind of going on here. This is the first in a series of something that I'm going to call like Richard lists or rich lists or lists. However, let's get cracking with this one because lists take a while and I don't like it when my videos take a while because it means I have to spend ages editing them. This list is simple. 7 movie sequels better than the original. Dropping this year, we've got the likes of Deadpool 2, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, Star Wars Han Solo subtitled Why the fuck did we make a Han Solo movie, Avengers Infinity War, and also just, you know, this little tiny movie called The Incredibles 2. So with all these films dropping, it made me think, man, movie studios just love to take our money. However, sequels aren't always just plotless cash grabs. Sometimes sequels have been planned right from the start and we get to return to this world and these characters that we love and enjoyed watching the first time, and it really pays off, and isn't that wonderful? So I've made a list, a rich list, the first rich list, a list that I definitely did not just write 10 minutes ago. Now let me just clarify this before I drop some knowledge and some jaws. This is not fact, this is what I believe. If you believe something different, that's fine. I can't tell you how to live your life. I'm not your dad, unless I am your dad, in which case, what the fuck do you mean The Phantom Menace is the best Star Wars movie? Do you know fucking nothing? I guess it's time for you. Okay, coming in straight away at number 7, we have Toy Story 2. The whole Toy Story trilogy, to be honest, is pretty damn solid. Some people don't like number 3, I don't know why, but 2 is by far the best. Critically, Toy Story 2 is the greatest movie sequel ever. It has 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, and well, also now because of last year, Paddington 2 is also the greatest movie sequel ever. No, I haven't seen it either. But this movie is just wonderful, man. It sets so many themes for the whole trilogy about abandonment and friendship and loss, people losing friendships and people not being wanted anymore. It's a really deep movie. Never underestimate animated movies. They teach so many lessons. And everything that was set out for us in Toy Story 2, it just sent the franchise on the best direction it could have gone. The plot for Toy Story 3 was set up in Toy Story 2, even though that Toy Story 3 came out, I think, 8 years later. That's just off the top of my head. It may be right. It's probably wrong. But yeah, that was set up with Jessie's song and her story. And if you are telling me you did not cry at Jessie's song, then you, sir, are, or you might not be lying, but you probably are a liar. To hate me again, let's begin. The third movie in a trilogy, still a sequel. And by God, if this isn't the best cinematic culmination ever put to screen, then I don't know what is. There is nothing I would change about this movie. I've seen it what feels like now, I don't know, like a million times, and every time I watch it, it still feels like the first. There are a million ways that this movie could have and probably should have gone wrong. Every time I watch this movie, my family from all different places in the house gather together, and I guarantee you by the end of the film, every single one of them will be sitting in the living room watching with me. And my mate, and his dog, everyone's there. And I mean, no big deal. It's only the highest Oscar-winning movie of all time, alongside 2 others. Lord of the Rings: Return of the King is unbelievably good. And I know Lord of the Rings isn't huge for people my age, but oh my God, if you haven't seen Lord of the Rings, what are you doing? Go watch all of it, please, please. Now hand me the pin. How should I begin it? Coming in and rhyming with the number 4, Thor Ragnarok. What? Richard? How dare you include a movie that came out so recently? Yeah, that's right. I did it. It's not a classic. I know it's not a classic, but it's great. Thor was so boring. Thor, before Ragnarok, was a very boring guy. Not someone that you would really, you know, want to hang out with. He was always complaining, always getting into issues with his girlfriend, always being bested by his brother, and frankly, I didn't really like watching him. When I watched his movies, I liked watching Loki. Thor Ragnarok, however, is number 4 on this list purely because it was such a shift change. They sent this film in a direction no one ever thought Thor would go in. If you had come up to me 2 years ago and you said, Richard, we're making a comedy about Thor, shut up, I would have said no. You would have to change his character too much, it would never work, la-di-da-di-da-di-da-di-da. It worked so well. And I've already said this on the channel, but I'm gonna say it again. If you haven't seen Thor Ragnarok, watch Thor Ragnarok. You know, you should watch Thor Ragnarok. Why haven't you seen it? And where does it all end? The world is coming in at number 3, The Empire Striketh Back. What a beautiful film. Star Wars took the world by storm. I don't care if you hate Star Wars, okay? If you hate Star Wars, firstly, you're probably on the wrong channel. Secondly, that's fine. You don't have to like something I like. A lot of people in the world don't care for Star Wars, but you can't disagree that it blew the world away. I wasn't alive, I'm just taking people's word for it. When it came out, no one had ever seen anything like it. I remember my dad telling me that when he watched it in cinema, it was the first movie he ever watched in cinema, and he told me that it was crazy good. So how do you follow something that has that high of a rep? You make The Empire Strikes Back. The Empire Strikes Back opens straight into action, okay? It doesn't waste any time. It just kicks off and goes and separates the main characters. Immediately, from the beginning, subverting expectations. Everyone's expecting another fun space romp with, you know, your favorite gang, and they're all gonna go together and fight the bad guy. No. Luke goes off on his own, Han and Leia go off to Cloud City to see Lando. Darth Vader is much more prominent in the second film than he was in the first one. And this movie, to me, is probably the perfect sequel. I know it's at number 3 on the list, but I don't think they could have done it any better. It's so well orchestrated and put together, they waste no time. It's incredibly paced. It builds on all the characters so much without drifting away from any of their arcs. It makes you feel so much more for all of them, and wow, it makes you feel a lot more for the whole Star Wars universe. It's a completely different story than anyone was expecting. Now, if you know me in person, you are sick to death of me talking about number 2. Captain America, The Winter Soldier. Gorgeous. Gorgeous. I don't know what it is about this film that resonates with me. It's so good. Captain America, no one liked him. I liked him because, I don't know, I just did. No one else liked him. Everyone thought he was a boring old Boy Scout. Winter Soldier. What is so good about the Winter Soldier? It totally reinvented Captain America. This was the first Marvel movie that just took its character, what it had, and went, no. We're gonna give him the same characteristics that he had before, but just put him in a much more impressive setting and situation. With this movie, they took a character who has always been able to see straight and know exactly what he wants, and they put him in a situation where he doesn't know what to think and who to trust. They make him choose between saving the world and saving his best friend. They make him choose between trusting himself and trusting S.H.I.E.L.D. S.H.I.E.L.D. being the only thing he has left that resembles his life back in 1945. That's what makes this movie so compelling and interesting, and it's why I fucking love it. It shifted the entire MCU. It revealed that Hydra was growing inside of S.H.I.E.L.D. this whole time. This universe is not what we were expecting it to be. They completely changed Captain America, and it wasn't this straightforward good guy superhero anymore. Marvel wasn't this world now with these superheroes. It was this world where everyone is complex. Everyone is full of secrets. Everyone is not what you think. Everyone is not what they appear on the surface. And my god, if that hasn't driven Marvel from then on, I honestly don't know what has. Captain America the Winter Soldier is the best Marvel movie. Fight me. And we have made it to the end of the list. Okay, before we get to number 1, I'm going to talk about some Jacob James almosts, in which I talk about the films that almost made it to this list, but didn't quite make it into my top 7. And those movies are Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, The Godfather Part 2, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2, Spider-Man 2, and Kung Fu Panda 2. Kung Fu Panda 2? Richard, what? Listen to me. If you take one thing away from this video, go home, rewatch all 3 Kung Fu Panda movies, look me in the eye and tell me that isn't the best fucking animated trilogy you have ever seen. I guess it's time for you to... So we've made it. Number 1. What is the best movie sequel of all time, in my opinion? It is, of course, The Son of the Mask. I'm joking. Look, it's not. It's Cars 2. Again, I'm sorry. Okay, let me just... The greatest movie sequel ever made, Shrek 2. You may be thinking at this point, oh, for God's sake, Shrek. I know that Shrek has become a joke amongst the world recently. Not because of the quality of the movie, just because people are making memes about Shrek. Shrek 2 is so good. Oh my god, it's so good. It's so well written. Everything about this movie is spot on. Throughout the entire movie, we have this undergoing theme of racism and prejudice and how people see people differently, how everyone should be treated equal because you don't know someone until you know their personality. Shrek 2 can make me laugh, it can make me cry, it can make me feel that weird shivery feeling you get when you don't really know how to feel in a movie. It has amazing character development. You see so much growth in everyone. No character in this movie is left uninvolved, and they're all part of the story for a very, very good reason. The villain is terrifying. I remember being scared to death of the fairy godmother when I was a kid. Prince Charming, yeah, not so much. Shrek 2, honestly, will make you feel things that you have never felt before. The action in this movie is also epic. The big giant gingerbread man, what? When I watch that movie, I see everything that's happening on screen, and I can't understand how I'm so invested. I am watching an ogre who has transformed into a man, riding a gingerbread man the size of a hotel, who is holding a smaller, regular-sized gingerbread man on his shoulder, conducting a siege on a castle in which a horse-transformed donkey and a cat with a sword are fighting off a bunch of guards so that ogre-transformed man can get back to his ogre-transformed woman wife and save themselves from an evil, flying, singing fairy godmother. Fine. Absolutely fine. Shrek! Shrek 2 is by far the greatest movie sequel of all time. One of the greatest movies of all time, even though this whole list is probably going to be changed because Infinity War is coming out, and if that lands the way I think it's going to, then yes, that is going to be the greatest movie sequel, maybe the greatest movie ever made. But for now, we can only hope. So, that was fun, wasn't it? A little Richard list for the first time. I think I'm going to call them Rich Lists. I think Rich Lists has some kind of ring to it. You guys are awesome. I love you all, and in the comments, tell me whether or not you agree with any of the films on my list, if there's anything you would change, or if there's anything you would add, or your own movie sequels. I'd love to hear what you guys have got to say. Comment down below. Let's have a chat. I'm not the kind of guy that will ignore you. Everything's wonderful. Sequels are great. I've probably dug myself into a massive hole with this whole list idea. So, let's see where that gets me in the future. There's some really, like, epic music going on downstairs. I don't know if you guys heard whatever that was, but wow, has that got me in a mood for life. I'm gonna take on the world. I will post more YouTube videos. Thank you, Epic Music, for making me feel like a king.